Over to Mel. No?
Thank you very much, guys. And joining me now is Stuart Rudner, founding partner at Rudner McDonald LLP, specializing in employment law. Let's talk about the court of social media. And, of course, it was Jian Ghomeshi who had put out that long Facebook posting, and before this report had come out, doing something like that, whether it be Jian or anyone else. What does that say?
Well, I have to say, in this case, we're looking at the situation after Mr. Ghomeshi was let go. In the typical situation that we see as employment lawyers, there's an ongoing relationship and typically an accusation and an investigation. And during the investigation, confidentiality is critical. And so if you had somebody go online in the middle of an investigation, put out their side of the story, implicitly and perhaps explicitly bash his accusers and embarrass his employer, it would certainly not play out well for them.
Well, right now, the alleged victims, because they want to have that anonymity, don't have the leisure of going to social media to respond right now. So now what can they do?
Well, I mean, on a personal level, I have a lot of sympathy for them. They made the decision after being allegedly victimized not to file a complaint, and we all know people who are abused, raped, assaulted have good reason not to go to the police sometimes. They decided not to. Now they've had this brought out into the public essentially against their will, and they have a choice of either responding publicly or not saying anything. And as we've seen already, they're being bashed for not saying anything, and people are saying, well, if it really happened, they would have come forward, so obviously it didn't.
Something that we saw on citynews.ca, as Talbot was reading out, people have varied opinions on it, and it seems taking one side or the other before this is even being played out, which we should keep in mind. This is a civil case, not a criminal case at this point.
Civil case, it's not a criminal case, and the alleged victims have no role in it other than perhaps being witnesses if this goes to trial. So they have nothing to gain, but they may be dragged in, as one person said anonymously on social media, they could end up being collateral damage.
So, bigger picture, let's talk beyond this case. What are the dangers moving forward in social media playing a role in something like this?
Well, in a situation I'm used to seeing, which is where there is the ongoing relationship, there's an investigation going on, and our firm advises employers who are doing the investigations, we advise people being investigated. We always say that it's critical that the person who, if assuming that they're guilty of some misconduct, the critical factor in assessing whether or not they should be dismissed or fired is how they respond to the accusation. I spent years writing and updating a book. It's called You're Fired. It's all about when you can be fired. And what I've seen is judges are really looking at how the person responds when they're confronted. If they're apologetic, if they own up to it, give you an assurance it's not going to happen again, they're more likely to get a second chance. If they deny it, cover it up, or like in this case, go on social media and put out this side of the story during the investigation, much more likely the court's going to say, you know what, the relationship has been destroyed and they should be let go.
Well, quite the discussion. I appreciate you joining us today, Stuart Rudner. We're going to take a quick break here on The Five. We'll be right back.